Good morning, everyone. Well, Daryl, we're up here in the Northwoods of Minnesota, about 3 hours north of Minneapolis, and we're on a lake that is absolutely gorgeous.
Well, that's great to hear, Chris. And you know what's also great? We have people joining us from Florida, from all the way out in Kingman, Arizona, and California, and obviously throughout the great state of Wisconsin and more. So we're very excited to have everyone joining us today.
Absolutely. Hope everybody's being social and making sure they're wearing their masks.
I just took mine off before walking in here. So yes, we are. Thank you.
So everyone, some introductions here. I'm Chris Young with Extreme Networks, and we're excited to share some thoughts today that you don't know wireless. So we're having a little fun with that. And we have a guest speaker of David Coleman. So I did want to pass it along. Why don't we go around? Daryl, why don't you introduce yourself?
So once again, it's great to be here with everyone this morning. My name is Daryl Moore, and I'm President and CEO of Advanced Wireless Inc. Boy, we've been doing nothing but wireless networking since before there was Wi-Fi. So we've been doing this for about 25, 26 years now, and are very pleased and excited to be able to help bring David Coleman here, who's going to help dispel some of the myths and really share some secrets as to what you can do to optimize your wireless network performance.
Fantastic. And Chad, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. Chad Klubertons, employed Extreme Networks. I cover the SLED markets, so state and local government, higher ed, and K-12 in Wisconsin and Illinois now. Previous to July, I was only in Wisconsin, but I must be doing something good up here. So they expanded my region down in Illinois. And, hats off to our partner, Daryl. Daryl and I speak, I don't know, it seems like every day now. So it's not really just a business partnership. I ask him a lot of questions outside of Extreme too. So glad to have you on board, and thanks team for organizing this, and really thank you to all the participants for joining. I really think you guys are going to gain a lot of knowledge as to what's going on in the industry. And David Coleman is definitely the one to explain that.
So the theme today is you don't know wireless. And just to kind of run through a quick overview, we're going to ask AWI to introduce and have a couple of conversation points here. Then we're going to have a little bit about Extreme. And then we're going to turn this over to David Coleman and really talk about some of the efficiencies and dual gigahertz capabilities, AX, talk a little bit about our portfolio, and then we'll wrap it up with some conversation around Cloud IQ and what's coming in the future. So we've got a very big packed time this morning. We really appreciate it, and we'll move this forward.
So we can go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully all of you can see this right now. Obviously you're seeing the extreme joy of an IT manager, because he has a whole room full of people together and their wireless is exceeding everyone's expectations. So once again, thank you for joining us, and so proud and pleased to be able to bring this to you with our good friends at Extreme Networks. For those of you who might not be that familiar with advanced wireless, as I mentioned before, we've been around a little more than 25 years, really starting off in the world of wireless networking. Back in the old days, we had a proprietary protocol, and we would, send data back and forth over Motorola walkie-talkies. And obviously, things have come quite a way since then. But you'll find us doing everything in the LAN and wireless LAN and point-to-point and point-to-multi-point space, a lot with mobile computers, power solutions, IP-based video and voice solutions, wireless VoIP, barcoding and RFID. And due to significant customer demand, we're doing a whole lot right now in the thermal imaging, screening, and contact tracing space, given the current pandemic that we're experiencing at this time. So just to let you know about who and the scope of who we serve, we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate to have each and every customer we have. But just so you know the visibility of some of our customers, we do everybody from Harley Davidson to Crate and Barrel, Millipore Sigma, Rockwell Automation, True Value Hardware, and so many more. You'll find us in 13, and actually I need to update this slide now, 14 countries around the globe, where we manage mobile wireless networks, the mobile devices through a centralized mobile device management system, and once again, the contact tracing solutions and so much more. Now, one of the secrets to our success, and I have to say, Extreme makes it very easy on us. But before we sell anything, regardless of what manufacturer has released it, we bring it into our labs here at AWI, and we put it through everything from different stress testing to compatibility testing, etc. As many of you know, if you've been dealing with wireless for a while, not all Wi-Fi is created equal. Just because somebody has an 802.11 signet on their product, you're going to see from radio to radio, you're going to see different throughput, different ranges, etc., and different interoperability. So those are all the things we test for here before we're able to recommend it in one of our solutions. And to date, and Extreme should be very proud of this, we've never had one of their products not get certified and included in our solutions. So we do everything from solution design and needs analysis to fulfillment. So we have at any given time access to a little over $550 million in inventory. So when you need it, we have it and we can get it delivered. We also can provide all kinds of implementation services from not just design and wireless infrastructure analysis, verification, et cetera, but to staging and deployment. Once again, that's deployment and staging and analysis on a worldwide basis for you. So we're here for you when you need us with that expertise. And we do also offer award-winning 24/7 by 365 technical support. So once again, we're just proud to be an Extreme partner and to provide the level of expertise that we do to make sure that we exceed all of our customers' expectations. So to learn more, please feel free to visit us at www.awimobility.com. With that being said, Chris, why don't I go ahead and pass it back to you?
Thank you very much, Daryl. So with everybody, thank you for Daryl. Hey, at Extreme Networks, we're having a great time. The technology has been changing at an ever faster pace, and I think everybody realizes that. And one of the things that I like to share is what's going on at Extreme. You know, a lot of people look at Gartner as a sounding board for direction of what technology is doing. And if you look in that wired and wireless magic quadrant, there's really only 3 leaders now. It's Cisco and HP. They've been around. Cisco's kind of dropped a little bit. HP's somewhat flat. The only one that's really rocketing up is Extreme. And I wanted to share why that is. And we believe it's because of what Gartner is doing. And when they talk to end user customers, they're looking to understand what do they want, from a product capability to flexibility to ease of deployment, response. And Gartner rates us as manufacturers. They don't call us, they actually talk to end users to get their opinions. And so when we looked at this, we think that Gartner has actually moved us up because of how we are doing with capabilities and being more respectful on corporate pricing. So what I was sharing was the magic quadrant, and you see the 3 leaders there. David, move to the next slide then. And when we look at this, this is the peer insights, and this is where Gartner is actually grading the manufacturers based upon customers' responses. But I think the key piece here is we're the only networking company out there that doesn't outsource our service and support. Our customers come back to us and say they have a huge respect for getting competent information very quickly and on time. Next slide, please. So I'd like to make a quick introduction now. David Coleman is our guest speaker. He's the Director of Product Marketing. He is also one of our wireless gurus in the industry. I think many people follow his information. He is a CWNE number 4. So he's been doing wireless for quite some time. And if you've read any of those lovely, delicious 1,000-page books from Cybex and that, you're going to love it because he's the gentleman who writes them. So if you have a question about technology, we are in fantastic hands today. So David, I'm going to turn it over to you, and thanks for running.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Thank you for that introduction. I apologize that my webcam's not working, but let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. So, you know, one of the things that I've been like to talk about in terms of Wi-Fi is it's all about efficiency, and it really is all about the user experience. So one of the things I always like to say is user experience is king. If you can maybe think you have good Wi-Fi, but if the user is not getting a good experience because the APs have been overloaded or the Wi-Fi has been designed improperly, they're going to blame it on the Wi-Fi. So it's our jobs to make sure that user experience, because if you think about Wi-Fi, it is an access layer technology. And they need to make sure that user experience is, top notch over the at the access layer over the RF network. So there's been really too much emphasis on speeds with Wi-Fi, and it really should be more emphasis on the efficiency of Wi-Fi. Always remember that Wi-Fi and RF in general is a half duplex medium. At any given time, only one radio can transmit on a frequency domain, which is just a fancy word for a channel. So what you're actually seeing in this animation is you're seeing the different little devices kind of transmitting, and what that means is everybody takes turns. And even though the human eye may not see that, if you have 50 clients all connected through one access point, at any given time, only one of them is transmitting. Now, there is a protocol to take care of this. It's for this medium contention, but the medium contention in itself, the half duplex nature of the medium, actually adds to part of the problem and adds to part of the overhead, because everybody has to take turns. It works pretty good, but it also is part of the problem. And that's what this is all about right here. And to be quite honest, vendors are part of the problem here, because our and I'm in marketing, but too often we brag about the high data rates and the amazing speeds. But the thing is, the data rates are not the same thing as TCP throughput. And not a lot of customers understand this. The medium contention protocol I spoke of, carrier sense multiple access collision avoidance, I know that's a mouthful. It actually consumes a good 50% of the available bandwidth. So in legacy environments, that's your aggregate TCP throughput of a data rate in ideal conditions. And even in 802.11n in AC environments, in ideal pristine laboratory conditions, whatever your advertised data rate is, your actual aggregate TCP throughput might be 60 to 70%, but that's in laboratory conditions. In real world conditions, just plan on it being about 50%. So if you have a 300 megabit per second data rate, your aggregate TCP throughput is 150 megabits per second. And keep in mind, I'm saying aggregate because this is a shared medium. Now, one of the big things I always like to talk about is 2.4 gigahertz versus 5 gigahertz. 2.4 gigahertz, we still have tons of devices that still attach to it. There's a lot of IoT devices that attach to it. Unfortunately, in this industry too, people have a tendency to hold on to legacy devices too long. So there's a lot of devices that still communicate at 2.4, but in my mind, the 2.4 band should be considered nothing better than a best effort band anymore. And a lot of it has to do with the lack of available channels. So the primary goal of a channel reuse pattern, hopefully most people understand this now, is prevent what's called co-channel interference. We'll talk more about that in the next slide, but it's to reduce airtime consumption by isolating frequency domains. So you see here's channels 1, 6, and 11. And ideally, they can all communicate independently without interfering with each other. But the million-dollar question is does radio frequency just stop? Does RF just stop? And the answer is no. I guarantee you that these two APs on the same channel, channel 1, they will hear each other. And because they hear each other, they have to take turns. So, and And that actually has a name. That's called co-channel interference. But you know what? I've never liked that name because it's Wi-Fi working the way it's supposed to work. It should be called co-channel cooperation, when only one radio at any given time can transmit. The problem is it cuts down in your efficiency. So the point I'm getting at, it is pretty much absolutely impossible to prevent this in the 2.4 band because there's only 3 channels. So I guarantee you APs and clients on the same channel, even at very great distances, are going to hear each other and they're going to defer, and it will affect your efficiency. The other thing a lot of people don't understand is that co-channel interference is not static. It's always changing. As a matter of fact, the #1 cause of CCI is clients. Clients are mobile, and when they transmit, they own the medium, and they can affect multiple RF domains on the same channel. It could be multiple APs and clients that hear a transmitting client, in this case on channel 1, and everybody else has to defer, thus affecting the efficiency. Which is why 5 gigahertz, if you need something better than best effort, 5 gigahertz currently is the answer. There's no question about it. Now, by default, there's 9 channels that are always on by default, the Uni 1 and the Uni 3 channels. But I'm a big believer, unless there's nearby radar nearby, is to design and turn on the DFS channels as well, the dynamic frequency channels. And now you have, a whole boatload of channels to choose from. And the point you can see here, even though this graphic is linear, you can see that 2 APs in the same channels, in this case, channel 36, they have literally 10 or 15 APs distance between them, not to mention walls. So the odds of those APs and their associated clients hearing each other in the same channel, they're slim to none, if properly designed. So with proper good design and leveraging all the channels in 5 gigahertz, you can fully prevent CCI, and by preventing CCI, you're increasing your efficiency. So, and you just can't do this at 2.4 gigahertz, which is why things like voice and other other applications shouldn't even run. Voice video shouldn't even run on the 2.4 band. It's actually a common design practice if you get in like the K through 12 industry to put 1 AP per room. And the reason that is done very often is for capacity reasons. So you will see right here, you'll have 1 AP per room, and you'll have the 5 gigahertz radio on in every room. But what you usually have to end up doing is disabling 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 2.4 gigahertz radios for 2 reasons. Number one, you still got to have some 2.4 coverage provided for the legacy devices and the best effort network, but you have to turn off all those 2.4 radios simply to try to limit some of the co-channel interference. You can't prevent it, but at least you can limit it. And this has been a standard design practice now for a long time. But in my mind, yes.
So here's a quick question with the 2.4. Are those other manufacturers refunding the unused radios in those APs when you turn them off?
Are they refunding them? No. I mean, you're stuck with them. They're built into the AP. So I mean, you basically,
how do we get around that?
Well, I mean, there's 2 things you can do. Some vendors, you could turn them into a sensor, but I have a better way. And that is a dual 5 gigahertz using software selectable radios. So this has actually been a big winner for Extreme. We've been doing this for quite a while. We've actually been a leader in this, where you can have 2 fixed radios. One is a 5 gigahertz radio that's fixed, and you can see in this case it's on channel 40, okay? But then I have my other radio that is on 2.4 on channel 6, but it is a software-defined radio or software selectable radio where either you can manually or let the protocols take care of this automatically, where it can be converted into a second 5 gigahertz radio. Now, what this does is it effectively doubles your capacity. Now, I'll just go back to this slide right here. Wouldn't it be a lot more efficient, instead of turning off all those 2.4 radios, to turning the 3 out of 4 that we turn off into a second 5 gigahertz radio? you'll still have 4 or 5 radios in this particular design right here that'll be servicing the 2.4 band, but instead of turning off that those 75% of your 2.4 gigahertz radios, you are now providing a second layer of 5 gigahertz coverage, and you're effectively doubling your capacity, which means more efficiency. So this has been a big winner for Extreme Networks, and we have a lot of customers that absolutely love this, simply because, once again, 2.4 gigahertz is the best effort band, and now by doing this, you can provide double the capacity with proper design.
Dave, this is Can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
In the Extreme product line, do you pay some kind of huge premium to have that kind of capability?
Absolutely not. This comes, not every single one of our radios have this, but pretty much every radio that we've been putting out the last couple of years has dual 5 gigahertz capabilities, with 1 or 2 exceptions. And bottom line is, this is just built in. You, as an administrator, you have the ability to manually change that radio, or you can let our RM protocol called ECSP, which can automatically sense how many 2.4 radios you need, and automatically switch this to a second 5 gigahertz. So it's a long answer, but the short answer is no, there's no extra charge. Which brings me, since we're talking about efficiency, there really has been a big paradigm shift in the last year or so with Wi-Fi, and that is Wi-Fi 6. Which is based on the 802.11ax standard. Now, as I mentioned, there's been, in the past, when you start talking about the physical layer and MAC layer enhancements, 802.11n and 802.11ac were like, let's have bigger channels, and we'll have more frequency space, and we're going to have these ridiculously fast data rates. So the analogy I've been using now for about 1.5 years is we built bigger highways and faster cars. But in reality, that's the problem. So, I live part-time in Atlanta, Georgia, and, that's what it normally looks like at about, between 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock at night every day on the interstate. And it doesn't matter if you have a Ferrari, you're still going to be stuck in that. So we actually kind of Wi-Fi hasn't been efficient. There's been an overemphasis on speed. And a lot of it has to do with the high density of clients. You should understand that the efficiency of the MAC sublayer always drops as more clients join. So the more and more clients that participate on a channel, the medium contention in itself actually drops the efficiency, and it gets you increases in collisions and medium contention overhead. Here's a little factoid that a lot of people just don't understand and are not aware of, I should say, and that's the bulk of data frames. Even though that there are a lot more high bandwidth applications finding their way to Wi-Fi, the bulk of data frames, 75–80%, are still under 300 bytes. So what that means is every time you transmit a frame, you're going to get a small frame. You have to use a whole 20 megahertz channel just to transmit this whole small frame, and you get this extra MAC layer overhead and medium contention overhead. Even if you're doing frame aggregation, some things cannot be aggregated, like VoIP, for example. So, but what I'm getting at is we don't need a 20 megahertz channel, let alone a 40 megahertz channel, to transmit 75–80% of our data, and I have to have everybody take turns. So it hasn't been efficient, and that's where Wi-Fi 6 kind of comes into play. Wi-Fi 6 is based on 802.11ax, which is the high efficiency standard. The Wi-Fi Alliance has introduced this new generational naming system, so try to make it easier for the layman. So Wi-Fi 6 would be AX, Wi-Fi 5 would be AC. If you talk to your grandma, she might understand what Wi-Fi 6 is, but if you say AX, she's not going to get it. And it's the next generation, and it really is a paradigm shift. So I want to do a quick comparison of what we had previously, and still the bulk of what's deployed out there, and then show you how Wi-Fi 6 is changing things. So Wi-Fi 802.11n and AC are the technologies we've had for the last 10 plus years. and it used a technology called RF technology called orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. So if you think of if you look at think of this chart here as a channel. Each channel is divided into subcarriers where you modulate your data. And let's say this is a 20 megahertz channel. And we're going to look at this over time. So and we'll just say we're on channel 36. And if our AP is transmitting, he's going to transmit on the entire 20 megahertz channel using all the subcarriers. If one of the associated clients transmits, when it's his turn, he transmits on the whole channel. And then the next client, and the next client, and the next client. And what I'm getting, once again, everybody has to take turns, right? One at a time, and medium contention works. But what you have to understand is they are occupying and using the whole 20 megahertz of the frequency space. And quite frankly, that has not been an efficient use of that frequency space. And that's where AX is changing. AX is taking the existing technology and enhancing it with what's called orthogonal frequency division multiple access. It's a multiple access version of what we had before. So imagine this. What if an AP was transmitting downlink to 2 clients and could subdivide that channel into 2 10 megahertz baby channels effectively, and send some data to one client and some data to the other client, but only using half the channel for each client? What if on the next downlink, the AP could subdivide this into 4 baby channels and then transmit the data down to 4 clients at once? Now, you could use the whole channel if you wanted to, or you could divide it in half again, or use the whole channel, or different subsets of this. Bottom line is, before it was you. Now you can go 5 clients at once, 4 clients at once, by subdividing up the channel. Now, these little baby channels have a name. They're called resource units. But as you can see, this is a much more efficient use of the frequency space. And I'll take you back to the earlier slide I had before that showed that the bulk of the traffic is under 300 bytes. So it really doesn't make sense to use a whole 20 megahertz channels for 300 bytes. It would make a lot more sense if I could transmit downlink or uplink to 4 clients, a synchronized uplink from 4 clients, all transmitting their 300 byte frames by subdividing the channel in 4. Effectively, you're cutting down on the airtime consumption, and in this case, you've cut it down to 1/4 of what it was, and you're getting 4 times the efficiency. That is, now there are a lot of other things that are defined by 802.11ax, but one thing I like to talk about is this technology is the secret sauce. And if you're familiar with OFDM, if you're not familiar with the OFDM technology, you're already using it. You own a smartphone and you have LTE, it uses the same type technology. I believe there is a handbook, handout that you can download straight from GoToMeeting. It has a copy of this, Wi-Fi 6 for Dummies. So this is a little booklet that I wrote about this. So you can either grab the handout right here, or you can go to the website and download it as well. And you can learn a lot more about it. But this really is a paradigm shift, because it really is, for the first time ever, we're going to have true multi-user communications with Wi-Fi. And as we move forward, the efficiency in Wi-Fi in itself, as more Wi-Fi 6 clients join into the environment, will increase and be enhanced. So I believe we have a customer testimonial, actually, is Sean here?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that, guys.
No problem. So could you just tell us about your experience real quick, Sean?
You bet. Here at the Wisconsin Center, we have a campus-wide Wi-Fi network, our exhibition center to include a ballroom, 2 floors of meeting rooms, and an exhibition hall. And then we have our theater and the arena that you see here. We are a extreme customer. We have over 278 APs under my management here in our network. And I can tell you with some confidence, with the growing of 5G technology coming in, our Wi-Fi 6 platform is actually aided in carriers rollouts of their 5G networks. So it's been a very exciting time for us here. We will have the DNC, what limited capacity they will be in for their event, coming here shortly. And they have been testing our network alongside a competitor's network, and they are leaning more towards using our network for their needs, to include the press and the DNC as themselves. So it's a really exciting time here in the trying times that we're in currently.
Hey, Sean, quick question for you. You have the Great Hall or the Great Exhibition area. Take a moment and describe one or two of the events where you had high dense populations, and how many APs are in that environment?
Last year, we actually had a regional meeting of the ELCA, the Evangelical Lutheran Conference of America was here. They had well over 15,000 members in our exhibition hall. The area that they used had approximately, I would say, about 40 to 50 APs, all 650Xs with external antennas. We turned all 2.4 gig off, and this speaks to what David was earlier talking about smaller data payloads. They were using our Wi-Fi for their voting system, and every individual user was able to vote for the first time in the history of their conference without any issues.
So Sean, you had 10, 12, 15,000 people voting on their cell phones over 50 APs, and it worked?
That is correct, because the 650X, we utilized the dual software 5 gig radios in all of them. That way we were able to offer a channel plan that allowed users to get on and off the network as fast as possible. Again, as David pointed out, these are very small packets of data. We were able to get them on the network and off the network as fast as possible. In so much as things continue, they actually reached out to us to help them engage the next conference center that they would be holding this event at.
Fantastic. Well, as you can see, at Extreme, we're building technology that really delivers durability and fantastic load capability as well. But it really comes down to building a great channel plan and having a good partner like Sean here, who tests our technology, utilizes, he lets us know when it doesn't work the way he wants it, or if there's a feature he'd like to have. But we're very happy to have you here, Sean. So thank you very much for today.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, and thank you, Sean. And I'll just add that designing for this type of environment is never easy. Dual 5 gigahertz will absolutely help you, but I mean, glad to hear Sean did a lot of other things using unidirectional antennas to isolate the contention domains. It's just another trick that you can do in a very high density environment like this. So congratulations and good luck with the DNC. So quickly, we'll try to just show you this real quick. Chris, you want to talk very briefly about our access points or our current Wi-Fi 6 access points?
Absolutely, thank you. You know, at Extreme, we have dual capabilities, that dual channel capability, so that we can have a fixed 5 gig radio and a 2.4 that can be shifted to a second 5. The first is really kind of a fantastic workhorse access point, our 305. It's cloud enabled, it has a built-in integrated firewall, Bluetooth, it has all those great capabilities. But what really brings it out is it's a price point. That price point, list is $555. We have had fantastic introduction, and customers have been flocking to this, replacing a lot of other manufacturers. Kind of fun. The second one, though, is the one that I really like to share, is when you're starting to think about security. And what we've done is in the AP410C, this is a tri-radio. So now you have that fixed 5, but the second radio again is software defined that you can select 2, 4, 5. But there's a third radio, and that can be used as a threat sensor. That same technology is in our outdoor hermetically sealed radio called the AP460. So no longer do you have to run out and go buy external antennas. You can, but the advantage here is it has both omnidirectional. We have models with a 60-degree or 120-degree sector capability, and seems to be addressing a lot of manufacturing, a lot of warehouse, a lot of playgrounds at schools. and even stadiums and auditoriums. So these are some of our workhorses in the cloud today, and they all operate with our Cloud IQ software. But I'm going to throw one out for you. Guess what? How would you like a free AP? Every Wednesday, join us. And then when you log in and go grab a sandwich or a cup of coffee, listen for 45, 50 minutes. We'll actually demonstrate and show how the software is working in the AP. And at the end of that, my team reaches out to you and offers you a free AP. Now, here's the best part. This is an AP that you receive, but what we found is most customers don't always know how to set it up perfectly the first time. So we created a virtual flight school. We want you to learn to fly, take off, land, all that fun stuff. And we do this about once or twice a month. The next one is coming up August 4th. This just occurred on July 9th, and it's hands-on, engineer to engineer. You don't need anything except your laptop. All you'll do is we'll send you out an invite for this, log into this, and our engineer will help you set up a Cloud IQ license to configure the AP, walk you through capabilities like private client groups and PPSK, private pre-shared keys, and really take you through the configuration. It's a couple of hours, but great hands-on, and that can be applied directly to that free AP that we send out to you. So I'm going to turn this back to you, David.
Okay, thank you. So I encourage everybody to take advantage of this. Our cloud management system is actually very easy to learn. A lot of people can learn it on their own, but having this opportunity to get this jump start, I highly recommend it. Okay, so much like there's been a paradigm shift in Wi-Fi with Wi-Fi 6, you know, the last couple of years, I like to talk about the paradigm shift about cloud networking. And if you're not in the cloud, if you're not managing your networks from the cloud, it's not a question of if you'll be doing it, it's more a question of when. And it really has become quite the paradigm shift. And we're a market leader in it and have been. We're the only company with what I call a 4th generation of cloud management solution. We scale better than anybody. We have regional data centers all over the world. And we take in more data than any of our competitors. And what this gives you is a single pane of glass for you to manage not just your access points, but pretty much the entire extreme, pretty much all of the extreme switching line, including the XOS and VOS switches, plus some applications I'm going to talk about towards the end of the presentation. So with that, let me proceed. And one thing I want to know is, I want everybody to know is, if we take cloud security very seriously. As a matter of fact, we are the only company, cloud networking management company, that holds this third-party ISO certification for their cloud management solution. And we're actually working on some more as well. So sometimes you might get a pushback in terms like, is the cloud secure? Trust me, we go through a lot of different things to make sure that we are protecting customer data. Everything that you see here on the left is what the service provider like AWS or Google Cloud does to protect the metadata that is sent to the cloud. But we go the extra mile, and we've gone through all these other extra steps to get that third-party verification. We are working on 3 or 4 other third-party certifications as well, and we are well ahead of our competitors in terms of security validation of our cloud management platform, and that's a very important feather in our cap that I always like to start with. And the other thing I'd like to always mention is, based on all our customers worldwide, we're taking in 1 terabyte of data per second, which is an average of 5 petabytes of data daily. And so just to give you some perspective, 1 petabyte of data is equal to 13.3 years of high definition video. So every day, our cloud management solution processes the data equivalent of 66 years of high definition video daily. Now, keep in mind, this is not user traffic. This is metadata traffic that is sent securely to the cloud in transit, but about your wired clients and your wireless clients and the health of your network. If you're going to have a path and crunch the numbers to provide visibility for both machine learning and AI, you need data. And once again, in terms of the amount of data we're taking in, we're 2 or 3 times what our competitors are right now. And speaking of data, we recently announced what's called an unlimited data horizon, meaning a customer can view their data in the cloud forever in a timeline. So we have these timeline views that you can look at your client data, your user data, your AP data, your switch data. Currently, every single one of our customers has a full 90-day timeline visibility that they can see at any time. All our customers have this. In the industry, most of our competitors are stuck at 30 days. We have one competitor that can do a year, but they charge you extra for it. We give you full 90 days, and guess what? If you register for a brand new account, we can give you unlimited data, meaning you'll have visibility. Oh, how much does that cost you? Well, it depends, you know. It depends on whether I like you or not. But because I like you, guess what? The unlimited data, there is absolutely no extra charge. So if you started an account right now on with IQ and signed up for the unlimited data plan, you will have and you kept that account for 10 years, you will have visibility in the cloud for 10 years. You can go that far back in a time.
There's no charge for that.
No charge for that. And I got to tell you, I mean, I'm very proud of this because this is groundbreaking. This is a game changer. Nobody else comes close to this. Okay, they're gonna have a lot of catching up to do. But being able, and think about that, like a retailer, let's say you're a retailer and you want to see, all right, here's what happened this Christmas season. What happened last Christmas season? What happened 2 Christmas seasons before? Or it could be a school system. Like what happened when all the kids checked in at the beginning of the school year in 2019? What about 2020? What about 2021? You can go back and look at those things historically with an unlimited data plan, and you're not limited to the 30 days of data that most of our competitors have.
So David, real quick question on that unlimited data. If I've got visibility back and forward in that, and I get ready to do that, all I have to do is create a new account and I get it free. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Fantastic. Team, that's super news here from Extreme, and we want to be a leader in that industry, and we are. So please take advantage of that.
So the other thing that has just really revitalized my career, and I'm a Wi-Fi guy, okay, but I've become a cloud guy too, and the technology is just mind-boggling. And the more I learn about cloud, the more complex I've learned it is. But it's where everything is headed. But the thing that I think is the coolest about it is the speed of innovation. So in the past, you're used to a development process where, you know, a developer, they come out with an app, they design it. It's called a rainbow process, waterfall process. They develop the app, then they have a beta for a couple of months, and then they release the finished product. Well, that's not the way it works in the cloud. In the cloud, everything's agile and everything happens in phases. So what it actually does, it increases the speed of innovation on how we can deliver new features and new enhancements to our customers. So this is called Client 360 View, and it is a view, a historical and real-time view of just one Wi-Fi client. And I'm just showing you in this animation here how it has evolved over the last year. And it has changed, and I've actually need to update this slide because it's gotten even better. This feature didn't even exist a little over a year ago. And the speed of innovation and how fast we can deliver functionality and visibility and analytics for our customers is nothing like I've ever seen before in my career. And because it's something that I'm very passionate about, it's something that I work on in the marketing department very specifically to blog about this monthly. And we create these monthly videos too to show you every month all the new features and enhancements like that come on a monthly cadence. And guess what? That monthly cadence starting in August goes to bi-weekly. Truth be told, in the cloud, the cadence can actually be daily. We can actually make little tweaks and little teeny bug fixes or tweaks to the UI and daily, and you'll never even notice it. But in terms of new features and enhancements, we are now on a bi-weekly cadence, and I encourage you to follow our blogs and videos just to see how fast that innovation is. It's kind of mind-boggling. So another big feather in our cap I like to tout is this. We are the only network management solution in the cloud that is cloud agnostic. Most of our competitors are tied strictly to AWS. Now, nothing wrong with AWS. We got started there, but you can run our platform also on Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure. Now, why is that important? Well, sometimes it can be vertical specific. So if we have any retailers here in the audience, typically retailers don't care too much for Amazon because they view them as a competitor. So they don't want to really feed any money to Amazon. No problem. We'll put your management account on Google Cloud or a Microsoft Azure platform. Healthcare, we've identified as a platform that seems to be, for various reasons, seems to find its way to be preferred on a Microsoft Azure platform. At the end of the day, we will probably have this running on other platforms in the future, especially in other countries. But at the moment, we're the only vendor that runs in all three platforms. It's totally up to you which one you'd like to run. So with that, I think we're right up against our hour. That's what I have. I'm welcome to take questions or comments or insults or which way we want to go.
So I know we've gone a little bit over on time. If anybody else has any more questions or would like additional information, please feel free to email me at dmorin@awimobility.com. Or Chris, do you want to share your address?
Sure, it's CHYoung, Y-O-U-N-G, @extremenetworks.com. So we really appreciate you taking the time here today. A couple of key things that I want to make sure we reinforce. Join us on a Wednesday for a free AP. You get to see Cloud IQ, the application that David shared a little bit around. And during that 45, 50 minutes, we'll reach out to you afterwards and send you out an AP afterwards. That is good for customers, not partners. The second part is that unlimited data is now available. And guess what? We have launched something through the end of this year that if you buy a switch today from Extreme and you get standard next business day support on it, we are sending out a free Cloud IQ license for that. Now you can have your switch information be up in the cloud as well. In addition to that, unlimited data around that. And if you'd like to learn to set up Cloud IQ, whether it's a switch or whether it's an access point, join us for a flight school. That's several hours. That's an engineer to engineer, and we do limit that to only between 10 and 12 people per, because we want to have a really good interaction with the engineers. And those are all free. We look forward to having you join us on that. And if you have any questions about those, reach out to Chad or Daryl or myself. We'll be glad to answer any questions for you. Daryl, any final words for the team?
No, just excited. Just so excited to have had Dave and Sean join us today to speak and to share their experiences and their knowledge with all of our customers and those who are contemplating upgrading or implementing wireless LAN technology. One thing I wish we would have had a little bit more time personally to touch on was the cloud being fourth generation. That's not just a buzz term. There's a lot of, and I can say this, I'm not a manufacturer, I'm not Extreme. There's a lot of folks out there touting their cutting edge technology that are on still legacy, second generation platforms that is unbelievably limiting. So if you're not aware of what fourth generation technology does in the cloud, give us a call. You need to find out right away. Thanks again, everybody, for everything you've done. I appreciate you coming out today.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great
Thanks,
day.
everyone. Bye-bye.